Matt, new at 10 tonight, we are seeing record numbers at the border of people encountered who are on the terrorist watch list, and this has some lawmakers sounding the alarm.
Some border experts tell the News 4 Tucson investigators they've never seen a greater threat at the southern border. And our chief investigative reporter, Chris Nylander, has more in tonight's News 4 Tucson investigation.
Well, I can tell you the number of people we are seeing encountered at the southern border here that are on the federal government's terror watch list are like we have never seen before.
Obviously, that's very problematic for the United States because we can't even process them fast enough. We can't ID them fast enough. We can't vet them fast enough. Virtually, there's no vetting that's going on right now.
The southwest border is seeing a historic number of encounters of people on the federal government's terror watch list. In this fiscal year, U.S. Customs and Border Protection data shows 151 encounters with people on the terror watch list between ports of entry on the southwest border. That is almost double the year before, but just 2 years ago, the number was only 15. Years prior, the number's even lower. In 2019, there were 0.
When the terror watch list started right after the creation of the Department of Homeland Security, March of 2003, to get a handful, and I say a handful, less than 8 or 9 was a big deal.
Victor Manjarez is a former Tucson Sector Border Patrol chief with decades of border experience. He's now a professor at the Center for Law and Human Behavior at University of Texas, El Paso. He says he's never seen such alarming terror watch list numbers, but those are people that are identified. He worries about those we don't know about, mixed in with an also record number of so-called gotaways, people who are seen entering the country but never captured, a category where Tucson leads the nation.
And I suspect within that mix of the gotaways, it's a greater proportion of people on a terrorist watch list.
With Israel now at war with the terrorist group Hamas, tensions in the Middle East have led to increased fears here along the southern border. The Department of Homeland Security telling the News 4 Tucson investigators, quote, "While we do not have specific and credible intelligence indicating a threat to the United States at this time stemming from the Hamas terrorist attacks in Israel, DHS is closely monitoring unfolding events and will continue to engage in information sharing with our intelligence and law enforcement partners at home and abroad." In Cochise County, Sheriff Mark Daniels has been paying attention to the numbers and worries about how vulnerable the border is right now.
I see what happens on our border every day. I see the amount of intrusions into our border, into our country, the gotaways, them running from us, this fight and flight, and how many are here trying to find a better life and how many are here to harm us.
CBP has seen a spike in encounters with people from Egypt and Iran, countries with known ties to terrorism. But not all people on the watch list are equal. Manjarez says there is a wide margin of why people end up on the list.
Anyone on the terrorist watch list doesn't necessarily mean that they're a terrorist.
Congressman Juan Ciscomani represents much of southern Arizona. He blames the Biden administration and Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas.
Mayorkas needs to step up and do his job, and that's why I've been calling for his resignation and even impeachment.
Manjarez believes the key to getting terror watch list encounters down is by lowering the flow of people altogether.
Once you can reduce that flow, you do a better job of vetting and inspecting. You do a better job of expanding your operations.
But that's easier said than done. We continue to see street releases and growing numbers of migrants from all over the world. Manjarez says the conditions right now are very easy for someone to slip under the radar. Investigating for you, Chris Nylander, News 4 Tucson.